Hey horror fans, welcome back to room 237. It's getting pretty late or pretty early, depending on how you look at it, but I figured I'd do one more video before I packed it in. So I got another slasher film for you, another 80s slasher film, and probably another one of my favorites. I'll get into it. Just Before Dawn. Now, I'm willing to bet you might not have heard of this. This film is criminally underrated and underseen. Terribly. I mean, when I first heard of this film, that makes a lot of sense. First heard it. First thing I heard about it was, one, I thought it was a cool title. Thought the cover kind of made it look like a zombie film. I can't remember who I was watching on YouTube, but this was like years ago, probably like 7 or 8 years ago. What they said about the movie really intrigued me, and I was like, that doesn't really sound like a slasher film. But I went out and got it, and this is a damn good slasher film. It's from, it was directed by Jeff Leiberman, who also directed Squirm. Which, Squirm is just a horror movie about worms overtaking a farmhouse. If you like Mystery Science Theater 3000, they did an episode on it. So why is this movie so good? Okay. It is, I would say, if you take The Hills Have Eyes and a Deliverance, put them together, you get this. I mean, I know Deliverance isn't a horror film, but that's exactly what this movie is. Like I've said before, like when talking about Halloween movies that don't have the bong like jump scares whenever a killer's around, even in the background. That's all this movie is. This movie doesn't even have a score. You hear 2 songs both times they're on a radio. Other than that, the only music is just like soft ambient ominous music, and you get some, I guess it's sort of the Friday the 13th sort of equivalent, which is I guess it's the killers out in the distance doing like this. You hear that throughout the film, and it is eerie and just soft. What this is that's one of them. It's out in the Oregon woods. There's this group of 5 friends going out camping. They have a camper, but they can only get so far, then they have to hike. But there's these 2 inbred hillbilly twins that are stalking them and killing them off one by one, like a slasher. But it's done in such a way that this is probably the creepiest slasher. Next to, I mean, Halloween has its moments. Chainsaw Massacre is pretty frightening. But really, just like, I don't know, I can't even explain it. Which is stupid, because that's why I'm making the video. Just for like an example. Well, first, the film starts out with these 2 guys. One of which is, the older guy plays Mel on the original Sleepaway Camp. So that's cool. They're out in this cabin, and they're attacked by the twins. Mel from Sleepaway Camp runs away, and then we see our group of characters. The lead guy is Greg Henry, who's been in a lot of stuff. He played Mayor McCready in Slither. He's been in a lot of stuff. He's been in a lot of Brian De Palma films. And, they're warned by the ranger not to go up that far, but they do anyway. And it's like when their RV is stopped, there's a shot of like everyone towards the front of the RV, and then the window is like this big in the background, and you just see them climbing up on the ladder of the back of the RV through the window. Or it will show someone sitting here like this with a window behind them, and you'll just see like their legs come into frame as they climb up or drop down to look down through the window with no music, no warning. Or like this one couple, Jonathan and Megan, they all get to a spot where there's a waterfall, and they go swimming together. And like they're obviously up in the foreground swimming, and if you look in the background, there's the waterfall, but out of the waterfall comes one of the twins, and he just walks until the water's all the way up, and he just goes. Again, no music, he's not even in focus. So like that shot on Halloween, when Michael's laying in the background and Laurie's sitting in the foreground, and Michael just sits up and looks at her, that's the whole movie. It is done so well. And this movie never did very well. I mean, it's liked by those who have seen it, but it's incredibly independent. Like, it was supposed to be bought by Paramount, and they backed out. It's only had a couple DVD releases, like I think 2. This was the first one. And the transfer is not very well done. It looks like it's taken straight from the VHS or the Laserdisc, which is fine, because I love that gritty, grainy film quality. I'd rather it look like a crappy VHS than all prettied up if it's an old horror film. And also, the deaths, they're not gory or bloody, like, at all, really. But it's done just so well, how the killers just come up, or they just linger in the background. It really feels like they're being stalked, and it really looks like they're being stalked, and it's done beautifully. Like, again, even though in my reaction video for the It Chapter 2, I said it looks like they might have learned their lesson from the last one with all the boo scares. But more modern filmmakers who make horror movies should watch stuff like this. This is the perfect example. Again, yeah, I mean, Halloween had it, but this whole movie was built around it. And even when the killers are sort of, you can see them, and they do, because they don't talk. Like, there's a part where all the characters have to get it's like one of those rope bridges, like a Monty Python and the Holy Grail, but the wood is gone, so it's just the rope. So you have to walk on one rope and hold the top one. They all do that together, but then one of the characters, he wandered off because there's another family out there called the Logans. Ma, Pa, and a sort of daughter around the same age as the characters called Mary Cat. She keeps watching the group of friends, and she kind of lures him away because she likes him. So he's on the rope bridge, and the guy first he cuts his hand, then he cuts the rope, so he falls. And while he's hanging there, he's doing this like inbred, like, gasp laughing. And even though that might seem silly, it's fucking creepy, because when you actually get to see them and see what they look like, one of them just wears like sunglasses and a hat. The other one has like a a bulbousy head like you would see in Hills Have Eyes. Which also, since that one daughter watches them and tries to help, it's kind of like Ruby on Hills Have Eyes. Then, of course, you find out at the end because the mom, pa, Logans keep trying to warn the characters. Mel from Sleepaway Camp keeps saying, you know, I saw demons. Mom, pa, Logan say you're gonna raise the devil. Because I guess the original script, there was a lot of religious overtones in it. And then director Jeff Leiberman just cut all that shit out. Which, if they had done it in a way, for lack of a better reference, like Silent Hill, to make them all look superstitious and like crazy fanatics, I guess you can make it work. But if you're out in the woods, just inbred hillbillies works just as fine. And yeah, the Rangers there at the end, they shoot the one with the messed up face, and he's like, well, you breed in the same family for long enough, I guess that's gonna happen. And I mean, I not to say this movie isn't violent. I mean, there's another friend, one who's not part of a couple. He's a photographer. The guy that got in on the rope bridge, he's sort of a prankster. So his girlfriend thinks he's out trying to prank him, so she starts like flirting with the photographer guy, who's actually his brother, just to get him going. But he loses his glasses. So one of the twins is walking towards them, and we see his vision, it's all blurry, and still it's out of focus. So they kind of went above and beyond with also the not showing the killers, finding different ways to obscure them, because most of it takes place during the day. A lot of stuff that happens is during the daytime. And instead of just doing like the foot and hand shots in like Friday the 13th, they shoot them from a distance, and when they're up close, they find a way to obscure them in creative ways, like he lost his glasses. I know that's not super creative, but I mean, for a slasher film. But yeah, I mean, there's not much to say. It's just, it literally is like Hills Have Eyes meets Deliverance. It's this inbred family out in the woods, in the mountains. Start killing people off. It never says if they're cannibals or not. I don't think they are. But yeah, this movie is intensely atmospheric. That's what this is known for. You really get that sense of isolation, being out in the woods, being watched at all times. The fact that there's either little or often no music whenever you see the inbred twins. The fact they're usually in the background doing like stalking without music just adds to the atmosphere and the creep factor so much. I can't recommend this movie enough. Like terrortrap.com, Just Before Dawn is a must-see for slasher fans. Absolutely. I mean, like, I'm stuttering because there's a lot I want to say. Like, yeah, I'll sort of give a movie shit like Mountaintop Motel Massacre because there's no blood, no gore, or Humongous. But those are also crappy movies. This is a great movie. This is substance over style. Complete definition of substance over style. You want to see a great atmospheric, creepy movie where the background is the focus. Check out Just Before Dawn. I actually even like this more than the original Hills Have Eyes. Might be blasphemous, but I think it's a better made movie. Definitely check this out if you haven't seen it, even though I just told you everything. Well, I didn't tell you the most gruesome death. How they stop the second twin. I'll leave that to you. So Just Before Dawn, can't recommend it enough. It's a shame how underseen and underrated, underappreciated this movie is. I think it's fantastic. But for room 237, I gotta go to bed. Thank you.